Good evening, everyone, and welcome to MMAAP Talks. MMAAP, or the Multimedia Arts Association of the Philippines, is the first ever professional organization for multimedia arts in the Philippines, bringing together freelancers, professional on all multimedia platforms, agencies, and schools. MMAAP hopes to establish itself as the cornerstone of Filipino multimedia arts, enriching its members with a strong national and international network, professional support, and of course, opportunities for capacity building through seminars like this, workshops, and national conventions. So this MAP talk is in partnership with Phil IT System Design Solutions.co. Phil IT System Design Solutions is a software development company based in the Philippines that provides custom software perfectly developed according to the rules and processes of any client. So Phil IT System Design Solutions will allow you to manage and monitor your business, organization, or any institution through your computer or mobile phone whenever and wherever. Another sponsor right now is Only Web Hosting. It is the choice of bloggers, web designers, graphic designers, photographers, businesses, and the like. As seasoned web developers ourselves, we know what good websites and what good website hosting is. So helpful tech support, budget-friendly prices, and of course, industry standard web hosting platform is what makes Only Web Hosting the go-to web hosting provider in the Philippines. Now 17 years in the industry, quite simply, you can't go wrong with Only Web Hosting. So again, welcome to our first episode of MAAP Talks for the year 2022. So MAAP Talks, no cost filmmaking with our guest, Ida Del Mundo. So Ida Del Mundo is a filmmaker, writer, and teacher. She is also a musician. Wow. And her first feature film, Kana, the Dreamweaver, has been screened around the world. Wow, imagine that, around the world. And she's currently completing a master's in directing at the School of Visual Arts in New York. New York City, wow. You may check her portfolio at there. This is Miss Ida. You can check her portfolio at anitadelmundo.wixsite.com/portfolio. Again, that's idaanitadelmundo.wixsite.com/portfolio. So without further ado, please give a round of applause or an emoji applause here in Zoom for Miss Ida. Miss Ida?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Hannah, for the introduction. And thank you so much, Maap, for inviting me for the first episode for this year of talks. I'm so happy to be here and proud to be part of Maap. And yeah, hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know it's a little bit late in the Philippines. Good morning from New York. And yeah, we're going to talk about low and no cost filmmaking, but high quality still. So retaining the high quality of your filmmaking. So hopefully we can give you some tips and tricks and encouragement as well on filmmaking. So I chose to title this talk Hanggang Saan Naabot Ang 0 Pesos Mo. So I don't know if you guys know that ice cream commercial, Hanggang Saan Naabot ang 20 pesos ata. So this time it's Hanggang Saan Naabot ang 0 pesos. This is low and no cost filmmaking. So a little bit of a formula for this talk is 3x3 plus forever, meaning I have 3 tips for each of the 3 stages of production. So 3 tips for pre-production, 3 tips for production or principal photography, 3 tips for post-production, and 3 tips for forever. This is something that you can do all the time, not just when you're preparing or doing your films. So let's jump right into it. I'll make this a quick talk, and hopefully we'll have a lot of questions and interaction throughout and after with the Q&A. So I think with the Q&A, you can use maybe the chat and also on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. All right, so number one thing that you should start with in your no-cost filmmaking is absolutely free. It's to do a SWOT analysis of yourself. So while you're preparing to do your film, you have to review what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your opportunities are, and what your threats are. So just quickly, when you think of your strengths, ano ba yung strengths ko? What are the resources that I have? What are my unique abilities? And all of these can be used towards your no-cost filmmaking. What do I mean by this? So let's say you're good at obviously you're interested in filmmaking, so maybe you're good at writing and directing. So that part is already free. You're going to do it yourself. Turns out you are also good at music, or you're interested in music. So the music production part of your film will be virtually free as well. What are some of your resources? Let's say you have a nice camera or a nice cell phone. That will add to your, or will lessen your production costs already. So what are your strengths? Then you review what are your weaknesses. What are things that you lack? And what are things that you improve on? And in this pre-production phase, you can start working on those things that you need to improve on. You need more resources for, or that you have to increase your knowledge in. And later on, I'll give you some resources on how to increase your knowledge on filmmaking for free as well. And once you are able to pinpoint what your weaknesses are, you should be able to go out and identify who are your friends, who are the people in your community that can support those aspects wherein you have weaknesses. And that brings us to opportunities. So kung hindi kayo familiar with the SWOT analysis, strengths and weaknesses are internal. They're your personal resources and abilities, or lack thereof. And then opportunities and threats are outer. For opportunities, you would ask yourself, what resources do others around me have? And what are their talents that you can harness? So maybe you have an uncle who has a restaurant or a sari-sari store even, or you have friends who are very talented. So all of that can be used towards your film. Again, hopefully for free or low cost. So if your uncle has a restaurant, you can ask him for sponsorship for catering, because that is a cost that you often don't think about when you're shooting, but then it adds up. If your friends are talented or your siblings are talented, and even if they're not, maybe you can use them as your actors, again, hopefully for free. And then you review what are your threats. What situations or conditions are there right now around me that will hinder my progress? One of the threats right now is obviously the pandemic. And in this situation, a major threat to filmmaking is related to cost. I'll discuss this later on a little bit more when I show you one of the films that I did during the pandemic or during lockdown. And it really increases the cost, and then it also hinders you from interacting with more people. And that's something that you should keep in mind. So knowing your strengths and your opportunities will give you a good idea of what you already have that you don't need to pay for, you don't need to hire, you don't need to worry about, right? And then knowing your weaknesses and your threats will help you to prepare for what you might need, what you're looking for, what you would ask from people you know, or what you might invest in. So this is a very important part of pre-production, especially low-cost pre-production, because you have to be fully aware of things that you need and things that you already have. And the best way to do any production in general, kahit low cost, no cost, or high cost filmmaking, is to have very good pre-production, to plan very well. So yeah, do a SWOT analysis of yourself and your resources, and that will help you plan better for your production. Next, and again, this is also free, always be ready to pitch. So just because it's low cost or no cost filmmaking for you doesn't mean it has to be no cost for everyone else. Our idea is to get other people to invest in our idea. So no cost for you, but people who would like to support it can spend and support you in that way, or either with the production budget or with resources that they have, or with volunteering and manpower. So the way that you're able to get people on board to support your project is by always being ready to pitch. I put down two examples, or two types of pitches that you would need. First is the elevator pitch, which is very short, 1 to 2 minutes. This is if you just encounter someone at a party, or some sort of gathering, at a meeting, at any networking opportunity. You have to have that 1-2 minute, which is a 1-2 sentence log line of your film and what your project is about to get them interested. So it's called an elevator pitch because the time it takes for you to get to from one floor to another, you should already be able to bring across your idea. Another thing that would always help in your, especially the elevator pitch, is to really be excited about the story that you want to tell and the film you want to make. So this can be used in any situation. If anyone asks you, oh, what are you doing right now? Any projects mo? What are you busy with? You bring out that elevator pitch, and you tell them the story. And hopefully that will get them more interested. And you should also be ready with your pitch deck, which is a longer form of the pitch. And often this is what you would use to apply for grants, to pitch in pitching events. You can use it for joining contests or festivals like Cinemalaya, for example. You would have to pitch your project before you reach the finals, or before you're chosen for one of the finalists. And also for crowdfunding, and I'll show you some of the materials that I've used in the past. So your pitch deck will show you the aesthetic of your film. It will have your log line, a short synopsis, breakdown of the characters, director's and writer's statement, and the director's bio. So you're selling yourself as much as you're selling the concept. This is where you also show why you are doing this project, why it's important to you, and why it should be important to those who will support you. And also a little bit about you, why they should support you, why it will be possible for you to make this film, right? And then sometimes it has your proposed timeline and your proposed budget. It depends on what the grant giving body or the producer would ask of you. And you can ask more questions about that. This is doing a pitch actually, and a pitch deck is a whole other talk. So baka MMAAP might want to do a part 2. But just very briefly, and nilitan ko lang to para you just get an idea of what you would see in the pitch deck slides. So this is for my current project called Never Forget. It's a short film shot in New York. So I have the cover, and again, you see how the aesthetic is. It's not directly showing pegs, for example, but the treatment of all of the images on the slides would give you sort of a feel of what the aesthetic is. So it has logline and short synopsis. It has the characters. I didn't put all of the slides here. The film that I'm doing has a secret that is related to the story, is important in the story. So I put it here. And this is just an internal pitch deck for those who will be involved in the project. So pwede mong i-spoil yung secret dito or yung twist ng story nyo, just so that they become even more excited about what it is. I discussed some of the themes of the project. Locations were important for me in this project, so I added a slide on locations, and then the director's statement and director's bio. So I mentioned also crowdfunding. So again, I didn't have to spend anything to put together this pitch, but I'm hoping to gather resources from others who want to support my film. So I did crowdfunding. This particular crowdfunding platform is called Seed and Spark. I think it's available for those in the US, but there are ways around it. Like if you are doing a project in the Philippines and you have a contact who can be the one to represent you on this platform, that's one way to go about it also. And there are also other crowdfunding platforms that are available internationally. Yung maganda lang dito sa Seed and Spark is it's specifically for film. So those who go to the site looking for projects to support are really looking for film projects to support. So let me show you, or let me share with you the actual site. So if you want to see the video, you can go to seedandspark.com/fund/never-forget. So hindi ko na ipi-play yung video. But, or actually, why don't we play the video? So this is also a no-cost video. I used just myself, some previous work, and some copyright-free clips. So all of this is free.
Hey Dad, it's me. Hi Dad, it's me, Vera. Hello? Pablo Santos? Dad? This is Vera, your daughter?
Hi, I'm Ida Del Mundo, the writer and director of Never Forget.
When I directed my first film, Kanada Dreamweaver, in 2014, I had no background in filmmaking. I just had a vision and a story that I wanted to tell. Since then, I've done some documentaries and music videos, but I've always felt that I could do more, so I decided to enroll at the School of Visual Arts in New York. This past year, I've learned so much and have honed myself as a filmmaker. My upcoming film, Never Forget, is the culmination of what I've grown into as a screenwriter and a director. On this production, we are excited to showcase Filipino and Filipino-American talents, including Emmy-winning composer Denise Santos, award-winning production designer Fiel Zabat, director of photography Marcy Lacap, editor Cindy Custodio, and associate producer Jessica Del Mundo, as well as actress Mara Lopez. We've been hard at work preparing for our shoot in March, and we need your help. To be honest, our budget exceeds what we're asking for here on Seed and Spark, but everything on our wish list will go to keeping our cast and crew safe, healthy, and happy as we work hard on this project. Never Forget is an exciting story about guilt and revenge, but even more than that, it is a story about family, identity, and forgiveness. It's a significant story that we believe audiences around the world should see. If you think so too, and if you want to know the secret in Pablo's past that turns everyone's world upside down, then please support Never Forget. Let's make this vision a reality.
Okay, so that was the video, and I'll just go through quickly what's on this page. Another thing na maganda about Seed and Spark is at 80% you get a green light. So it's not like other sites where you have to get 100% of your goal or your target amount to be able to release that amount. So medyo mas lenient sila, and then they also don't take a percentage of the fee. So again, you have the log line, medyo long yung log line na to, but then you have a mission statement, which is a shorter version of your director statement. You have the background of the project. So this is a little bit of the synopsis together with the story behind it, how I was inspired to do this story. So this is actually based on the Escalante massacre in Negros Occidental. You talk about where the money will go to, what your COVID plan is. So that was the specific instruction to us by Seed and Spark for this particular project during this year, obviously. Why is it important now for you to produce your project and to for those who want to support you right now? What is the urgency? And then me, and then how people can help. So I wanted to share this with you because this should also go not only into a crowdfunding campaign, but also things that you should already have in mind when you are preparing to do your pitch or when you're just talking to people about your film, because this is very compelling. These are all the parts that you need to be able to discuss your film with other people or discuss your concept. At this time, at this point, it's not a film yet. So you have to have what the story is, who your potential crew and cast are, why is it important, what inspired you to do the story. All of these are very important. So just quickly, these are the things that I needed for the film. You see on the side the incentives for those who pledge a certain amount. And then we've been doing updates. So this is about the team. And all of these pieces of information are important because it shows those who want to invest or who want to pledge or who want to support you that this is a real thing. This is legit. It's a project that is not, fly by night, something that will actually be produced, and that it's an interesting story. And we'll talk about story a little bit later on. But yeah, so as I was saying, crowdfunding, pitching, making your pitch deck, that's a whole other talk that we might do or we can do in the future. Or if you have questions on that later on, feel free to ask. But I wanted to share that with you because that is maybe one of the most important aspects of no-cost filmmaking for you. Don't spend on your own project, but have the support from others who are willing to support your project. All right, so that's a little bit of a cheat, no? Hindi siya no cost, pero no cost siya for you. The next thing or the last item in pre-production that I want to share with you is between low cost and high cost, and you'll see why. It is investing. So you have to ask yourself, after you've done your SWOT analysis and after you've reviewed and analyzed the film, the story, what type of film you want to do, you have to ask yourself, what is most important to my film? What is something that you do not want to compromise on? What is something that if you have that it will make the film? And that's aside na from you as the filmmaker, whether you're the director or writer or the producer, given na kasama ka doon. But what is something that you are willing to spend money on, or you have to spend money on to make your film the best that you think it can be? Okay. And it varies per film. If the film is character driven or actor driven, then you would invest in good actors. If the film is, for example, a period piece, you might want to invest in production design and getting a good person for production design, or allocating your budget towards production design. If cinematography is very important to you, then that's where you would put your budget. Is location important to you and you don't have that for free or for low cost, then that's where you will invest. So in a sense, it still is low cost production, but it is knowing it is also a matter of knowing where you want to invest your money in. Okay, what is the most important aspect of my film that I need to invest in? And because it is that most important aspect, then it will be worth it. The investment will be worth it. All right. So yun ang 3 tips for production. Going on to production or principal photography, here are some hacks. So not all of this might be relevant, but they are interesting hacks to know for free, no-cost film production. First is to use your cell phone. And that said, there are several ways that you can use your cell phone, but also have good quality. So hindi porket you just use your cell phone, it's going to be a bad quality film. In fact, there are film festivals now that specifically feature cell phone shot films or phone shot films. Some of them are even the vertical film festivals, which it's a debate whether those are legit or not, but we can talk about that more later. But anyway, using your cell phones is a great tool for no-cost film production, but they don't have to be low quality. So some tips on improving your image quality, even if you use a cell phone. And by the way, a lot of cell phones are so advanced right now na they have great lenses, they have great image quality, they have HD options, or even 4K. So it's not quite a stretch right now to think of using your cell phone. So first thing to improve your image quality is to think of composition. Just because you're using a non-film camera doesn't mean that your composition has to be bad. In fact, knowing the basic composition aspects like rule of thirds or foreground, middle ground, background, and being able to use them are free. So all you have to do is to know these and have the eye for it, and expose yourself to films that will give you good examples of what good composition is. Again, that's a whole other talk. So other things to improve your cell phone quality is to shoot with good available light as much as possible, because with your no-cost filmmaking, you probably won't have those big studio lights. As much as possible, shoot with available light so that your cell phone image on your cell phone camera will appear much clearer. Do not use digital zoom. Digital zoom means that you are kind of zooming in on your camera, because that will definitely make you lose quality. Instead, bring your camera closer to become closer to your, or to have a tighter shot or become closer to your subject. And finally, try to shoot on the highest resolution possible. If it's 4K, of course, if you're shooting on a cell phone, it might make the memory be used up faster, but then you'll just have to keep on transferring your files. 1080 is also a very good high resolution HD. So you can use that. So whatever is highest possible, that will give you more leeway in post-production to work with the material that you have. Other things that will instantly improve your production quality would be camera movement. So you can use wheelchairs, wheeled luggage, skateboards for a smooth dolly movement to kind of copy the dolly movement or a tracking movement, and basically be resourceful. So actually all of these tips are also applicable if you're using DSLR, for example, for shooting your film, or any old digital camera, as well as your cell phone. If you also have cell phone accessories or camera accessories like a gimbal or a selfie stick or a tripod, all of these help in improving your production value by lessening the shakiness, unless yung handheld style yung gusto nyo talaga. But all of those accessories can be used. So just be resourceful. So while I was preparing for this speech or this talk, I saw on some of the websites that I was looking at for rigs or improvised rigs, these photos. So the one on the left, you have the camera handler in a wheelchair para smooth yung movement as they follow the actor. And then this one is interesting. On the right, they did a rig out of cardboard, and then they just pull it with the camera mounted on top, and it gives you kind of this tracking effect. In a larger scale, I just wanted to share this photo with you. This is the rig that we did on my first film, Kanada Dreamweaver. I think you saw it in the pitch video earlier. It was the opening scene where you have two canoes going slowly down Lake Cebu. And it's supposed to look like a drone shot, but at that time, we didn't have access to a drone. It would be too expensive. Also, because we shot in South Cotabato in Mindanao. Bringing like a drone and a drone pilot there would be too expensive for our budget. So we didn't, the bottom line is we didn't have a drone, and this is what we did. So this is our rig for a drone-like shot. We put a ladder on a boat. Then you see the crew holding down that ladder. And we have our cinematographer, Lee Briones, on that ladder, holding onto the camera. And then, I don't know if you can see it, someone is behind her, also on the ladder, holding on to her para hindi siya mahulog. And then we had the boatman turn on the engine for a few seconds and then kill it so that the boat would just very slowly go down the lake. And that's how we got our shot. And again, going back to the idea of no cost and low cost filmmaking, of course, this was not no cost, but it shows you the resourcefulness of the crew and the filmmakers on a low budget film. You might be wondering, how do you get people to do this for you? One of the most important things to me, again, going back to your preparation with the pitch, the story, why it's important to you, is to be able to convey that to your supporters and to the people who you are working with. If they see your vision and if they believe in it and they want to make that vision a reality together with you, then they will share with you their resources, their knowledge, and their effort in doing anything to get the shot that you need for the film. So having those people on board, again, going back to your strengths and your opportunities are knowing these people, and your strength should be being able to bring a group together who will be resourceful and be open to trying different things to be able to produce the film. All right. So moving on to the second tip, again, using your cell phone for production. This is one hack that we use all the time in no-cost filmmaking. It is using your cell phone for sound. Often sound is maybe the last thing that we think about when we are in production. But when we get to the screening or the theater, when people watch our films, if the sound is bad, the film is immediately bad. We can't understand the film because we can't hear the dialogue, or the sound isn't coming through, or the sound is bad, which is even worse. So all of these distract from your film and make your film low quality. So one free way to use your cell phones for a higher quality film is to use cell phones for sound. So this means that maybe the actors or some of your crew might have to let you use their cell phones as well, unless you have like 5 cell phones. So first thing, you can use your cell phone as hidden microphones. So nagre-record yung cell phone and you put it somewhere that the camera can't see, but somewhere close to your actor, so that it picks up their voice, and then you can use that as your audio track. So kung wala kayong budget for a boom and a sound person and a boom operator and lapel mics and everything, then that's one way to use your cell phone. And then the second is to rig a lapel with your cell phone and your earphones. So you would use a cell phone connected to your earphones, and this mic becomes your lapel. So syempre hindi siya isusot nung actors, no? But you would instead tape this somewhere in underneath their clothes, just like you would do with a lapel. It does pick up the the clothes noise and everything, but that's the same that you would expect from a lapel. But at least you have that extra kind of backup with your audio. And then the easiest way and maybe the cleanest way to use your cell phone for audio is to record voiceovers. So look back at your film and see if you can use voiceovers so that you have clean and understandable audio. And then you can use your cell phones to cleanly record that. And I'll show you an example of that film, one film like that later on. All right, and then one last trick or hack for, or a piece of advice, I guess, for this one, for production is to pool your resources. And this is something that you've already thought of with your SWOT analysis at the beginning, pre-production. Pool your resources for your particular film. So once you know what you need and what you lack, think of how you can get these for free. So what can you use for free? Do you have the location? Do you have the actors who you know? Are there props that you or people you know or people who are working on the film can bring for free? Wardrobe in a no cost or low cost filmmaking setting, the actors would usually provide their wardrobe, and you just have to guide them as to what you're looking for. Hair and makeup could either be free or done by the actor as well. And crew, who do you know who can help you? And they don't all have to be professional. They don't all have to know exactly what they're doing, but if you give them enough direction or you plan for it enough, then you can get your friends or your family, people you know as your crew. All right. Another thing to think of, which is both for pre-production and production, is as you're conceptualizing your film, try to already keep in mind what resources you do have and what you can use even before you write the script. So think of what locations you'd like to use that you already have access to, and try to incorporate that in the script that you're going to do. So that once you reach the pre-production and production phase, that particular aspect is already taken care of. In the same way, as you're writing, you might have a particular person in mind that you know can act this particular character. It's like you wrote the character based on them, so they can probably embody that character. So once you reach the production phase, you already know who to call on to act. All right, so moving on to post-production. These are all between free to low cost. First, editing, so free software. And this is very exciting because DaVinci is well known for its color grading software. And they've been releasing DaVinci Resolve as an editing software for free. And a lot of people say it's a mix between like the best aspects of Premiere and Final Cut put together and kind of perfected. Like whatever is working the best for those two editing softwares, DaVinci put together in this very clean and easy to use platform or software. So you might want to try out DaVinci Resolve for free. Canva, if it's very simple, can be used as editing software. I've known people who are actually YouTube creators who use very simple editing software like Canva, Filmora, Movavi, and then I've heard good things about Hit Film Express as well. So I put here free to low because there might be a small fee that you have to pay. There are a lot of ways to go around fees. First of all, is the mga free trials. So you do know how long you need to edit a specific project. So try to do that within your free trial. Or also you could think of paying for 1 month or for a shorter period of time, and only the time that you need to work on a specific project. And then don't forget to cancel your subscription. But yeah, DaVinci Resolve to me is very exciting. So if you're looking for free software, that would be the number one right now. Other things to think of in post-production, which are again free to low cost, are the different elements that you can use. So you don't have to go out and film like this drone shot of the city, for example, like what you saw in my pitch video. I got that from Envato Elements, which is it's a copyright-free video clip. So websites like Envato, Storyblocks, Canva will have free stock video, stock footage, free music that you can use, free graphics. All of these are copyright free, so you can use them in your films and not have to worry about piracy. YouTube is also good for looking for sound elements. So there are a lot of YouTube channels that have again copyright free like very random things for Foley, and if you need like a teacup being placed on a table, so the clink, or footsteps, or a scream, you can find those on these sites, including YouTube. And also, again, take advantage of free trials. Envato, for example, you have to pay to get the pro version, Canva as well, of course, but they all have free trials. And you can download as much as you want during the free trial para may library ka na of all of the elements that you might need. And I specifically put importance on this aspect, on the elements, because they, for no cost or for very low cost, they add so much production value to your film. So think of sound effects, think of stock footage that you might need, think of graphics that you can use. And if you're able to get them of good quality, then they add so much quality to your film. So again, just because it's no cost doesn't mean it has to be low quality. And finally, music is very important. I touched on this a little bit earlier with the previous slide. But copyright-free music is very important, especially if you want to use your film for film festivals, for uploading in streaming platforms, or for showing in public. You want to be sure that you're using copyright-free music. So you don't get blocked, so you're not pirating anyone, either on purpose or not on purpose. There are several sites where you can get these for free, including Ben Sound, which I use a lot. Epidemic Sound is also good. And then the last three, well, Envato Elements, which I've used as well. And then you have Artlist and Music Bed, which I've heard very good things about. Again, take advantage of free trials. So this is between free to low cost, depending on what site you use. But definitely Ben Sound, Epidemic Sound are very good resources for free and copyright-free music. And music really, again, adds so much value to your film.